So, I'm an indie game developer who likes to focus on virtual reality. And a huge reason of why I like the VR platform is because in terms of the gaming landscape, it's still relatively new. A lot of standards that we've come to expect from games have been built through decades of trial and error by different designers. Whether it's press X to jump, right trigger or left click to shoot, or even press F to pay respects. A lot of these game mechanics have been ingrained in us as players whenever we try a new game in a familiar genre. Even our controller layouts are a result of companies competing with one another to find the most intuitive and ergonomic design for pressing buttons. Just try moving any character from the PS1 era and you'll immediately feel the difference, if not frustration. For the most part, the most optimal control scheme that tie into gameplay have already been found. In a first-person or third-person game, when you move the left stick on your controller, you expect the character to move. Move the right stick and the camera looks around. And of course, there's still plenty of room for innovation and creativity in gaming, but the standards have more or less been set in. However, these rules don't apply to VR. If you move the left stick in VR, your character can move in-game, but around 50% of the people who do this will almost always get motion sickness. Move the right stick and it's even worse. Moving in real life to move in-game in VR works pretty well until you hit a wall or get run over by a truck in real life. In one way, VR opens up a whole new world of possibilities in terms with interacting inside the game. You can move your arms and head in almost infinite positions and combinations. In another way, it's still very constrained by the physical limitations of actions that you can do in real life. So I don't have like an endless space of land which I can like walk around, just to move like a mile in VR. So designers have had to come up with very creative ways of how to move and interact in VR. So I'm just gonna say it, Gorilla Tag came up with the most intuitive and brilliant movement system for VR, by far. But I gotta give a shout out to Echo VR and Arena for pioneering it. Look, I know there's so many Gorilla Tag clones out there, and the player base is dominated by screaming kids. But I'm only talking about the movement system, not the free-to-play social platform which a lot of these apps try to be. I actually don't care that much about social VR or social interactions in VR. To me, VR is something that's very private. To me, VR is something that's very create your own world, being an introvert and very private. I'm mainly interested in games, including VR games. If you want a more mature example of how this ARM-based Gorilla Tag movement system is applied, then look at a game called Underdogs, which is probably one of my favorite VR titles, period. I like games which reimagines the way in which players can move. I like platformers a lot, as well as Sonic-like games. I'll even pick up a racing title here and there. Lately, I've been getting into kart racing games, and I was amazed to see a good amount of variety out there that wasn't just Mario Kart. So for the past few months, I've been trying to figure out how to translate that feeling of a racing game or a speed-based Sonic-style game into VR. But I don't just want to put the player in a virtual car and have them turn the steering wheel. I don't want to create a racing sim. VR offers such a deep level of immersion, but also allows you to break the conventions of reality. So my goal isn't necessarily realism. I think the goal of any good game is to capture the essence of what's interesting in real life and allowing the player to experience that without the constraints of the physical world. I guess that could describe just good art in general. I want to show my project in the next few videos. It's not quite ready yet. It's like a very early prototype. But for today, that's all I want to talk about. So, bye.